It shows we are civilized. It shows we are modern. It's not when people are chasing rodents every year, chasing animals from where their natural habitat. It doesn't show that we are doing anything serious. Having said that much, I want to support this motion and ask that the issues raised thereon should be looked into by the Senate. Thank you so much.
Senator Binta Masi.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleague. My name is Binta Masi Garba, representing Adamawa North Senatorial Zone in the Senate. First, let me congratulate the mover of this motion and all the co-sponsors, and for us celebrating the Environment Day yesterday and I think today. A lot has been said and has been captured by the prayer of the sponsor. But we need to ask government to be more proactive in exercising its responsibility to the people of Nigeria. Directly or indirectly, we're inhaling or consuming toxins in our system, so we can't run away affected negatively or positively by the environment. And I think probably, Mr. President, sir, if the 8th Senate could be proactive in taking the step, maybe in our constituency project, to include economic trees that will be planted by members of the National Assembly, invariably helping the environment to be more nature-friendly. And there is this issue, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, about the Great Wall, the Great Green Wall, which obviously has been within the Ministry of Environment for a very long time. Funds are being released, but the Great Green Wall project has never taken place. So I think this should stand, if by the indulgence of the Senate, to ask for a public hearing on the Great Green Wall, so I will know how that project has gone thus far. But we will crave again the indulgence of every colleague of ours here that we should be a partner in making our our environment clean, by proposing that if each senator in each of its senatorial zones can, as a matter of exigency, if we can take about 300 to 500 fruit trees in every year of our stay in the National Assembly, at least we will be planting about 2,000 trees per senator. And when we times it by the 109 senators, we are now helping the environment, and at the end of it, the environment too is helping us. I want to say I align myself completely with the prayers of this motion. I thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Brajbin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Barrow Jibrin. I represent Kano North. Mr. President, let me join others in marking the World Environmental Day, which was yesterday, and commend the idea of setting a day to mark the world environment in order to bring focus to the importance of maintaining a sound and good environment for human beings world over. Mr. President, we all know the importance of having a good and clean environment. We also know the adverse effect of having the opposite. We know that when we maintain a good environment, it's not something that will benefit our generation or the current world, is something that will have a great impact on the future world, on our children yet unborn. Mr. President, here in this country, we've seen the adverse effect of desertification in the north, has affecting our society in the north. We also see every day how we have gully erosions and associated problem in the eastern part of the country. We also know and we also see every day about the environmental degradation that's occurring in the south-south part of this country. If we do not take action, if we do not put attention, focus on these scenarios, then we'll have ourselves to blame. It is therefore important that we draw attention of ourselves, of the world over, of everyone world over, to the adverse effect of what is happening currently in the world in terms of problems that are associated with our environment. Mr. President, let me look at what is happening at the global scene, particularly what has just happened in Paris, where the President of the United States decided to withdraw or show intention to withdraw from the Paris Agreement. It's something that should be taken seriously, and it's something that we need to urge the world leaders to draw the attention of President Trump to the fact that he doesn't need to do that at this period, particularly when we look at what is happening globally in terms of our environment. Mr. President, here at home, we need to, as stipulated or as shown in the motion, there's a need to create awareness amongst our youths by introducing environmental studies in the curriculum of our institutions. It's very important so that attention will be drawn continuously to the need to maintain a sound environment. Thank you, Mr. President.
We'll now go to the prayers. Prayer 1, call on government at all levels to create a feasible framework for realization of the protection of the environment under the Sustainable Development Goals. Those in favor of prayer 1 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2, urge the Ministry of Environment to create awareness and sensitize Nigerians on environmental issues with a view to safeguarding the health and well-being of the citizenry. Those in favor of prayer 2 say aye. Those against say nay. Ayes have it. Prayer 3, urge the federal and state ministries of education to include environmental studies in the curriculum of the school children. Those in favor of prayer 3 say aye. Those against say nay. Ayes have it. Prayer 4, accelerate the passage of the Erosion Prevention and Control Bill 2017 SB 32 and other environment protection related bills. Those in favor of prayer 4 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 5, mandate the Ministry of Environment and relevant agencies to create a framework to stop and prevent further deforestation, degradation, and replacement of lost vegetative cover. Those in favor of prayer 5 say aye. Those against say nay. Ayes have it. And prayer 6, mandate the Ministry of Environment and the relevant agencies to create a sustainable and viable framework to counter climate change and its effects. Those in favor of prayer 6 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Any additional prayer? Senator Gumel.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Abdullah Gumel. I come from Jigawa, northwest of Jigawa State. My additional prayer, sir, is mandate the Committee on Environment to investigate what happened to the Great Green Wall, because we have it only on paper. So the committee has to investigate about it.
Any seconder? Yes, Engineer Booker.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, I like to support the motion that we should investigate the Great Green Wall program because it affects the environment and it stops desertification. I so support.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the additional prayer, call on the Committee of Environment to investigate the Great Green Wall program. Those in favor of this additional prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Senator Magnus Abbey.
Yes, sir. Mr. President, to mandate the Senate Committee on Environment to investigate the implementation of the Ogoni cleanup program and report back to the Senate. Thank you, sir.
Seconder. Yes, Senator Basiakwan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Albert Bassi, Akwa Ibom Northeast. I rise to second the motion ably moved by my brother, Senator Magnus Abe, that to mandate the Senate Committee on Environment to investigate the Ogoni cleanup program and report back to the Senate as soon as possible. I so second, Mr. President.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of additional prayer to mandate the Committee on Environment of the Senate to investigate the implementation of the Ogoni cleanup and report back to the Senate as soon as possible. Those in favor of this additional prayer say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Senator Aderu.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I think in the contributions made by most of my questions, one of the senators, in particular Senator Bintamasi, specifically mentioned that in our constituency project,
to give us the prayer.
Yes. To urge distinguished colleagues to include tree planting as part of their constituency project annually, or planting of trees, 500 to 1,000 trees annually.
No, constituency project.
It is constituency project. We're talking of constituency project.
Any seconder? Distinguished colleagues, let me thank Senator Remington, Chairman of Environment, for moving this motion. And as we celebrate the World Environmental Day that was celebrated yesterday, it's a very important motion. We still continue to need to play a role. I believe that Nigeria needs to take over the environmental leadership in Africa. We're still behind, and we can do this through legislative means. There are still a lot of bills that are very important that we must pass in order to show our commitment and seriousness to the environmental challenges that we have. And I hope that we'll be able to do this as our own support and our own commitment in supporting and defending the environment. Thank you. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the third order of the day is a motion standing in the name of Senator Rafiu Adebayo on the dire need for a stakeholders roundtable to address increasing interest rates in Nigeria. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Rafiu Adebayo to move this motion.
Senator Rafiu Adebayo Ibrahim.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'm Rafiu Adebayo Ibrahim. I represent Kwara South. The dire need for a stakeholders roundtable to address increasing interest rates in Nigeria. The Senate notes the preeminent position of the banking sector as the blood channel for sustaining the economy, and the need to ensure that indices operating at all times are good for the survival of business and the economy. The Senate is aware that Section 2 of the Central Bank Act 2007 has given the Central Bank of Nigeria, among other things, responsibility to ensure monetary and price stability, issue currency, act as banker to government, and provide economic advice to the federal government. Senate is aware that the Central Bank Act 2007 also established a Monetary Policy Committee for the purpose of facilitating the attainment of the objective of price stability and providing support for the economic policy of the federal government, and also formulating monetary, credit policy, and guidelines. The Senate is also aware that the current MPR of 15% has remained so and very high compared to other developing nations, such as Brazil, 10.25, Kenya, 10%, South Africa 7%, Rwanda 6.25%, Bangladesh 6.75%, Botswana 5.50%, and many West Africa countries with single-digit MPR, some as low as 2.95%, for example, Cameroon. The Senate is disturbed. Despite all these negative indices, banks continue to declare huge earnings and profitability, which as at March 2017 increased significantly by about 151.02%, as profit before tax of all banks stood at 186.155 trillion, as against 74.16 trillion in December 2016. The Senate is worried that most of this profitability are derived from investment in risk-free government security, such as treasury bills and bonds. The Senate is also worried that the CBN is now faced with difficulty in decision-making on some of its core mandate of controlling the inflation rate, exchange rate, and the interest rate. Available and reliable records indicate that between January to December 2016, the CBN, as regulator of the banking industry, has about 5.784 trillion in interest expense for the liquidity management, thereby targeting inflation at the expense of economic growth, development, and employment. The Senate is further worried that the reported explosive increase in net credit to the government in April 2017, annualized to 72%, compared to a programmed rate of 33.12% for the year. A significant decline in credit to the private sector below 14.88% target for the 2017 portend grave challenges for future macroeconomic stability if allowed to entrench. Crowding out private sector borrowing from the economy is imminent. The Senate is concerned that the current regime of high interest rates continues to place a major burden on business investment and household consumption spending in Nigeria, thereby negatively impacting on the survival of Nigerian businesses. The Senate acknowledged and worried that this is perpetuating the indicator, which show that only about 30% of SMEs starting up in the country having access to credit from banks, which ironically employ about 88% of our workforce and therefore the backbone of the economy. The Senate is disturbed that lending rate to the private sectors has over between 28 and 30% across board in 2017. Further acknowledge that if we are to make the necessary reforms of the economy work, we cannot neglect the challenges that increasing interest rates pose to the survival of the businesses. The Senate advised the CBN and deposit money banks under its purview to adopt strategy that will lead to reduction on lending rates in short to mid-term, especially in the interest of the nation, and poverty reduction rather than profit-making only. The Senate is aware that the CBN has made appreciable efforts at boosting the value of the naira to about 370 per US dollar, a clear and a needful indicator from all-time high of about 530 naira to $1. The Senate further acknowledged that since the foreign exchange regime seems to be stabilizing, there is need to urgently address the most crucial aspect of the economy, interest rates regime. Therefore, the Senate accordingly resolved to mandate the Senate Committee on Banking, Insurance, and other financial institutions to organize a roundtable session with Central Bank of Nigeria, the banks, NDIC, other relevant stakeholders, and industry experts with a view to finding immediate, sustainable, and lasting solutions that will help usher in a new interest rate regime that will support enterprise development in Nigeria. The main purpose of this motion is for the Senate to take the lead as usual in using the approach of moral suasion to make sure we achieve this in the interest of the nation, and at least the banks to be able to make sacrifice from their huge profit for business not to continue to die. I so move. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Senator.
Thank you, Mr. distinguished colleagues, Mr. President, I rise to second this very important motion for two reasons. Number one, the interest rate in Nigeria is one of the highest in the world. You can hardly find any country in the world where interest rate is up to 36%. And there is no business you can do in Nigeria where you can borrow money from the bank and pay 36% and at the same time make money. What's the problem, Mr. President? The banks are not even borrowing to agriculture and real sector. They are only interested in government securities and also borrowing to government agencies where they are sure of getting their money back. And in most cases, if they borrow to the state governments, they ask for ISPO, at irrevocable payment standing order. So there is need to hold this roundtable conference so that we can bring the interest rate down. We are in recession, and there is no way we can get out of recession if the interest rate continue to be at 36, even 40%. By the time you add other charges, cumulatively it will be out to about 40%. So I support this very important motion, and I urge all my colleagues to support it wholeheartedly. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Gobri.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Distinguished colleagues, I stand to support this very important motion because, number one, if we have to be industrialized in this country, that is to revolutionize industry, whereby goods and services will be provided, the best way is to come back to the single-digit interest. If we don't do that, then there is no way we can move. The first thing that we have to do is to make sure the MPR is a single digit. If it is a single digit, then we know that other banks will be able to follow suit. So I think the main cause of the death of all the SMCs, that is SMEs in this country, is the interest rate that we have, which is double digit. You find that over 70